Hey there. So today we get to add and subtract rational expressions. Isn't that exciting? Okay, so we're going to start by looking at how do you add and subtract fractions, and we're going to use those rules to add and subtract rational expressions. So let's think about this for a second. Let's see. Let's think about this example. 2/5 plus 1/5. What do I do in this case? If I have 2/5 and I add it to 1/5, it's like adding two sets of apples, 2 apples plus 1 apple, because they're fifths, they're the same thing. So what I can do is keep my denominator and just go ahead and add the numerators, okay? And so of course the 2 plus 1 would result in 3, and we'd end up with 3/5 if I add 2/5 plus 1/5. The same is true when we're dealing with adding and subtracting rational expressions with the same denominator. We can leave that denominator alone. We're going to add the numerators, and then we're going to simplify the result if it can't be. Okay, so let's take a look. We are going to add or subtract the numerators only. We're going to simplify by combining like terms, etc. Okay, and then we're going to simplify any common factors. So kind of 2 steps in our simplification process. Sometimes we have common factors, but often there aren't. But we always want to consider that. Okay, so let's take a look here. In this case, I'm subtracting x, subtracting 3x plus 2, and it's both over x plus 1. So we know right away we're going to leave that x plus 1 right there. Okay? Now I'm taking x and I'm subtracting this whole thing, this 3x plus 2. And it's really important that you keep those parentheses there because that negative must distribute to both of these things. Okay, so what does that turn into? That turns into x minus 3x minus 2 all over x plus 1. Okay, so now I want to combine my like terms, and I've got x and minus 3x here, right? So I end up with negative 2x minus 2 all over x plus 1. Now I see in the top that I have a common factor. So I want to think about what would happen if I divided out that common factor. If I do that, you see there's a negative 2 in both of these things. So I can take out a negative 2, and I end up with x plus 1 over x plus 1. And so when I add these two things together, after I cancel out my common factors, I am left with just negative 2. And that would be my solution in this